Mr. Walsh mentioned, we have to do some physical plant upgrades. We will be doing that on our postpartum unit, upgrading that physical plant area, and also relocating the NICU from where it currently is to our 8th floor. And it also will take some work as well. So the money is invested in doing that. Again, it's time commitment. We need to make sure we have the appropriate approvals to do that. And as Ms. Brown mentioned earlier, we need to make sure the state comes in and gives us the approval to move forward with that in the near future.
So, I think, and I would ask if Hannah Nelson can come up, because I believe it was Ellen mentioned, Ellen, right? Yes, Ellen mentioned some of the great services, as did the 2-year-old's mom. Liz. Yeah. As did Liz, about particularly around the breastfeeding and the other postnatal support services that NCB is so well known for. And why don't you come? I'm going to move so you can sit at the mic. And we wanted to ask Ms. Nelson, who is the chief of staff for the network, to talk about some of the things that we really need your help in, particularly in terms of those postnatal services supports. And I also want to add that Dr. Zimmerman nor Bill did not talk about how what we want to do in investing in the staff here at NCB will also help us provide greater access for the outpatient services, because we want to make sure that we work on reducing the waits for people to get an appointment. We want to make sure that we're strengthening the OB surgical services. We want to make sure that the entirety of the Women's Health Program is strengthened, as well as resuming the maternity services.
So I said to someone today, what would be the best way to get the word out? So we obviously have some folks here who are going to really help us, right? I don't think you're going to be shy about it. And I think I want to borrow some of the beautiful pictures on the wall, because it's always hard to find the pictures that not only capture who your patients are, but they're what I call emotional pictures. They each tell their own story. So short of having a stork fly with skylighting that says, address change, babies are now being delivered back here, we obviously will focus, just as we did when we told people that we weren't delivering. We have women in our care, and those women will be notified face-to-face when they come, depending on where they are, in their pregnancy, that, we're going to be open next week. We're going to have a certain amount of notice, because we will have to have our staff up there, they have to check everything out and so forth. But at the same time, if we don't get a really large number of women to want to use this hospital, it just won't be good in general. And having nothing to do with the closing, the Bronx birth rate is down, and that's a fact. And it's down for some good reasons. But we want anyone to know what you learned when you did your research, that this is a wonderful place, to go. I have a little bit of what they call currency in this field, because I have 12 grandchildren.
Wow.
I would say that all but one was delivered by a midwife, actually. So I've heard from my daughter and my daughter-in-law about it, but also that one, they had a birth plan, and my son afterwards said, we had a birth plan. I was supposed to be in the delivery room with her, but then it happened so fast. There was acceleration of the heart, and there was an abruption, and he says, I blinked, but the doctor let me be there when they were fixing things up. He says, and it just happened so quickly. So you have to help us get the focus on what the messages are. There's no part of the clinical continuum of providers that we can do without. It just doesn't work. So I have very much an open door policy, and I look forward to following up. You just need to let me know who you think would be the best people that I could work with. We want to go out to the neighborhoods where we've lost some volume, and we want to explain to them, take them on tours, bring them here at the right time. And then we want to go back to health centers that we had to say we weren't delivering, and they made some decisions. We're going to deal with all the insurance providers so that we're once again back in their network and they're probably, our ideas. When the NCB moms delivered their babies at Jacobi, the Jacoby Auxiliary stepped up and gave them all gifts, whether it was baby blankets or hats, and all got a teaspoon that said "delivered with love" at. We're going to have those ready to give out because that will be a permanent memento for families to take home, and people treasure things that are associated with the birth of their baby. So I'm known to be very creative, but I really would welcome your ideas. As I said, I'm so impressed with the kind of work that you've put together already that I look forward to hearing from folks. And I'll be here quite regularly, so I won't make it hard for you to find me. Okay, and thank you very much for Ray.
And in fact, we should give her an applause. So, in fact, I had asked Anthony if we could get a copy of the sign-in sheet, because we want to reach out to folks after tonight and actually induct them in certain working groups around some of the issues that, some of the areas of focus that Hannah mentioned. Sure, absolutely.
So the only other thing that I really wanted to mention is that we really have, the delivering the baby is a part of it, and the prenatal care obviously is so important. But you mentioned about skin to skin. So both hospitals are in the process of getting an official designation called baby friendly, which is very, very important. And everyone on the staff is so passionate, about it. It just sends goosebumps up you when you hear people talking, about it. So we also need your help to improve the breastfeeding rate. It's not where it should be. We've had very talented and gifted people doing the teaching, but there has been a change in the culture, and people don't always have the grandmother around who helps them to do it and tells them, how to make it work. So we need to find people to help us get some of what are our core public health messages. We want the women to come in early for their prenatal care, not late. We want them to make that commitment to the educational classes, and we want them to want their babies to be with them. We do understand that sometimes they have many at home and they need at least one night's rest before they get back on their feet. But the nursing of the babies is very important because of some of the other chronic illnesses that we face. So I could hear from your testimonials that I won't have better resources than what's in the room right now. So thank you, Lorraine.
So we're happy to take questions.